Yes, indeed. It is called Lothric, where the transitory lands of the Lords of Cinder converge. In venturing north, the pilgrims discover the truth of the old words. The fire fades, and the lords go without thrones. When the link of fire is threatened, the bell tolls, unearthing the old lords of Cinder from their graves. Aldrich, saint of the deep, Farron's undead legion, the Abyss Watchers. And the reclusive lord of the profaned capital. Yon the giant. Only in truth, the lords will abandon their thrones. And the unkindled will rise. Nameless, accursed undead, unfit even to be cinder. And so it is that ash seeketh embers.
And we are skipping past all of character creation. This is after I spent like 20 minutes tweaking things.
They are extremely blue.
Yes, with pink hair, so cotton candy. The two things to point out here. The class is Assassin, which is in the base game of Dark Souls 3. This, by the way, is the Cinders mod. But Assassin starts with the Silver Cat Ring, which eliminates all falling damage if it isn't lethal.
Certainly not a bad choice for a ring slot.
And it's something we cannot get until I shit you not the end of the freaking game otherwise.
Oof.
And we will have need of it within 2 videos.
Yeah.
The other thing here... Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, you can't argue with on-demand full control.
Yeah. The Assassin starts with Spook, which also does that. But I prefer not to... I had a bad experience with Dark Souls 3 and Sorcery the first time I played, so I try to stay away from it now. But the other thing is that our starting gift is the Master Key, which is a lot better than its Dark Souls 1 incarnation because it opens up almost every lock in the game.
It certainly allows you to make some good shortcuts, I'm sure.
Let's just at least skip finding stuff. Like, we can get Grey Rat straight away.
Mm-hmm.
And something you might notice is that all of our equipment has a bonus now.
Ooh.
So the assassin starting gear makes your stamina recovery faster.
Certainly not a bad thing in a game like this one.
And because all equipment now has bonuses and stuff, this actually makes the assassin starting gear some of the best stuff in the game just because it makes your stamina recovery so quick.
Ooh.
Now, an unfortunate casualty of Cinders is this person right here. This was the nameless sword master from outside of Firelink.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And
He seems to be a lot weaker than I remember.
yeah, unfortunately. But we will need that Uchigatana. And this tree right here, believe it or not, this actually lets you go to New Game, advance a New Game Plus cycle. Just straight away.
That sounds suicidal.
I guess if you're doing a, like a challenge run, but you can do it at any time.
That's certainly an interesting feature.
It's actually new with one of the more recent Cinders updates. It didn't used to exist. Like, I played it back in the summer in version 1.73, and it's 1.9 or 9.1 now, and that's new.
Oh, wow. Yeah, from the bits and pieces you've told me, this seems to be fairly extensive, and I'm curious to see just how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Oh, it goes quite deep. Before the version that I started playing back in the summer actually started you in Firelink in that sealed pit of Firekeepers.
Oh.
And so if you would have to get past Gundyr and walk back into the Cemetary of Ashir back here, and it was full of pus of men enemies. Those giant tar guys.
If they're you mean the one I'm thinking of, that's pretty nasty.
And they were already out and everything. Like, it was a guaranteed, I want to say 30, 40,000 souls just coming through here. It also had, like, I think it was a guaranteed slab, several guaranteed chunks.
Jesus.
Like, it was really good to come through here early.
Mod balance decisions always intrigue me, because with some of them you have to wonder, okay, what was the creature's intention in doing this? You know?
I guess it's just to make things easier. Like, Cinders, the starting gifts, I didn't really cover them or show them off, but you can get, like, one of every infusion stone, or, you know, the coiled sword from Untended Graves, or stuff like that.
Neat.
But the Master Key is just so much far and away the best, like it was in Dark Souls 1, really.
Always a strong choice.
And something you might notice until we switch to our permanent weapon, something one of the more recent Cinders patches did is it got rid of striking walls. So while we can hit the wall, we no longer bounce off of it.
Oh, that's definitely a big plus for certain weapons. Because I remember struggling with that in not just 3, but like 2, anytime I tried to use a halberd.
Oh yeah. But the downside is that it still eats your durability like crazy for doing so. But I think it's worthwhile because you no longer are penalized for attacking in a short area.
Yeah, I just remember some of the weapons that had ridiculously low durability and you could not use them for 5 seconds, you know?
Oh yeah, especially in 2 before it got patched. Of course, here I'm saying, talking about low durability weapons in 2 like I haven't done a Claws and Fists run of 2. That was one of the best runs I ever did.
Power sensing fists in 2 is so much fun.
It is. God, it's fun. I think you can get fists pretty easily in Cinders too.
That's good to hear.
It'll be at the end of the video, but Andre just has like almost every type of weapon in the game in his inventory to sell.
No, that's what I like to hear. Giving the player more options early rather than, hey, let's gate all the cool stuff until the end of the game, you know?
That's why I like Cinders. Like some of the different weapons, like the Chaos Blade, or you know, different types of katanas may be locked off, but you can get a katana early on, so you can do your build.
Something with, you know, most of the same moveset at least.
Yeah. That way you're not doing, like, especially for Dark Souls 3 here, if you wanted to get claws in the base game, Jesus, you had to either kill the dancer early, or you had to get through, 85% of the game to get them?
Yeah, that's not a great option, is it?
It really sucks. Like, I never played Bloodborne, but that was one of the things people complained about in Bloodborne, was that if you wanted to do an arcane build, you had to go through most of the game to get the stuff to do it.
I've still never experienced Bloodborne myself either. I don't think they're going to port it at this point, are they?
Probably not. Sony's kind of protective of it. By the way, level up at any bonfire.
That's definitely a good choice.
This run, by the way, is going to be a specific kind of strength build. So probably the first 10, 15 levels are going to go into strength and probably vigor.
Fair enough.
And I know the katana isn't really a strength weapon, but neither is the rapier I started with.
Yeah, the sharp rapier. Oh, now, this is an ominous fog door.
This is one of the changes to Cinders I do not agree with. I never did like having to fight Gundyr in base Dark Souls 3.
Yeah.
And this is mean.
Oh, that's worrying.
Well, let's Ember up, because I'm going to need the extra health. All 30% of it.
Okay, let's see what... Oh, that's not good.
Yeah.
That's very not good. Oh dear.
He just transformed straight out. That's great.
Oh, that's fucking incredibly rude.
If I eat 2 hits, I'm dead.
I don't understand why even the base game made the first boss just ridiculous. And
then you have a single Ember, I think, in the first game too, if even that.
And now this is just, hey, fight the harder version? Immediately?
And that's why I wanted the Uji Katana, because two-handing it, you deal a lot of damage.
Is that,
We're not going to bleed him, but it does pretty good.
is that curse build-up, I see?
That is.
Good lord.
Also, we didn't mention at the time, but those are life gems that Cinders added.
Yeah, that's definitely a nice plus. They're a good option, too.
You can only carry 10 at a time, but I think I can count on both hands the number of life gems I used in my trial run. By the way, we're out of Estus. Life gems take forever to use, so this is basically one hit, we're dead. Do or die time.
Nice, nice, nice.
Corrupted Gundyr is not my idea of a fun fight.
No, the sort of pillars going everywhere seemed like they'd be a real pain to avoid if you'd stand in the wrong spot.
They are, and I've been killed by those pillars many times back when Gundyr was an optional boss. And something else Cinders loves is its curse attacks.
Joy.
No longer limited to the DLC, both of the toxic swamps have turned into curse swamps.
Oh. Oh no. That's concerning, given how horribly mazy I seem to remember at least one of those swamps being.
Thankfully, the toxic swamps were really tiny, actually. They're like one room each. So they're not the big problem. By the way, that censuring palm is just an unarmed attack.
Okay, I was wondering what the hell that was.
There's a lot of weapons, like, from all over the Souls games. I actually don't look at most of them, but I can if people want. I can, like, go in and take screenshots.
Okay.
But there are just so many that it's impossible to look at everything.
Yeah, I don't think it is... Has he actually added, like, new spells or anything, or...
Yeah, spells from all over the Souls games, new stuff. One of the most common loading screens says that, like, a spell you get from, I think, Wolnir's soul adds toxic to enemies.
Oh, interesting.
Like, and this not even getting into the changes that Cinders made to the FP regeneration, or to FP in general. Something you may not notice yet, we do not have an Ashen Estus flask.
Okay.
We will never get an Ashen Estus flask.
Interesting.
Instead, there's an item called a focusing crystal. And it's infinite use, and it restores a bunch of FP all at once, but you're vulnerable for 5 seconds while you use it.
Fairly good balance, I think.
And on top of that, FP naturally regenerates.
I see.
So it actually makes spellcasters not only viable, but good.
And I see you picking up something new at random.
The red eye ring?
I mean the crystal fragments that seem to be dropping.
Oh yes, because we started as an assassin, we are part of the Venheim Scholars Covenant.
Okay.
And a change is that, from the base game, is that all the Covenants, just from randomly killing enemies, will drop the Covenant upgrade items.
Oh, that is so nice. Like,
And even better, the magic fragments that we've been finding are what you use to upgrade your catalyst.
I don't want to talk about how long it took me to do all of the covenants on my old character.
And tend to thee.
Oh, I can't even imagine. I spent 2.5 days maybe just grinding in the stupid swamp to max out just the was it the Theron, the Wolf Covenant? Grinding drops from the enemies.
I had fun with that one. It was the I forget what they're called. Basically the police covenant. You get summoned to help people who have been invaded.
Oh yeah.
Trying to get stuff for that. Yeah, the enemy drop rate is goddamn terrible, and you will never ever actually be summoned.
That's something kind of nice about Cinders, because Cinders, you can play it online. Technically, you can. But if you do so, you get soft banned by default.
Fun.
So they had to add a way, if you didn't want to get soft banned, to do like the PvP covenants offline. That was their thing. This guy, by the way, offers challenges.
What?
That's never gonna happen.
No. Oh dear.
We can actually talk to him and buy an item that respawns bosses for 10% of their souls. So, take, what's his name? Vort of the Boreal Valley. He drops 10,000 souls. So for 1,000 souls, we can buy an item to respawn him once.
Interesting.
Gives me conniptions.
And you can buy as many of those as you want.
And just fight them infinitely. Okay.
Yes. That's because if you have specific, they're called curses, and I'm going to be activating some later in the LP.
Mm-hmm.
If you have specific curses active, you can farm a specific kind of item that lets you take your weapons and stuff past the maximum level, past a slab.
Ooh. So you can just go ahead and farm them off whichever boss you enjoy fighting most, I suppose.
The downside is that Vort only has a 50% drop rate on those items.
Okay.
There's other bosses that have 100% drop rates, but, they're the harder bosses.
Fair enough. Pick your poison.
And as we can see, this Hawkwood here lets us join the Dragon Covenant.
Ooh. There's a lot of interesting dragon thing equipment. Ooh.
There is just so much in Cinders, I could never hope to show it all off. Now this is the guy. This guy sells glamour items.
I was going to say, there's some interesting choices.
Every piece of armor in the game you can glamour, and he has got them all.
So you can actually use stuff for its stats and glamour, like, as opposed to having to pick between looks and functionality.
The downside is every time you die you have to reapply the glamours, but the items are infinite use.
Fair enough. And I saw that you got add glowy effects to your weapons.
That too, yep. Cinders is really good in that regard. There's a lot of cool shit to look at. This person up here that we're getting ready to see with the Titanite, or the Crystal Lizard, is a person that deals entirely with companions. Basically, permanent NPC summons.
That's an interesting choice.
And if we rank up in their covenant, we can just have a person come along with us, and they restore HP over time. They, get actual poise, stuff like that.
Oh. That's certainly a very handy system, I suppose. And if you don't want the help, you don't have to use it.
Exactly. I'm going to be abusing the hell out of the help. Because it's actually really funny, sometimes, to watch your NPC helpers run off.
And a seeker of lords.
And Ludlith here, from the start, can transpose souls. You don't have to kill the Curse Red at Great Wood to get the transposing killed.
Oh, that's nice too.
Linked the fire long ago.
And even better, Gundyr, the corrupted Gundyr we just killed, has multiple items that offer interesting drawbacks. We'll see them in a minute, but the basic idea is, in exchange for a powerful effect, you only have half of your health.
Oof. Well, I suppose if you're good enough to go for those challenges, that doesn't matter to you,
Five thrones will take 5 lords.
The effects are pretty powerful, stuff like confusing all enemies, letting them hurt each other.
The fast fading flame must be.
Or applying slow to all enemies.
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting trait. I could see a lot of enemies where slowing them down would make them a lot easier to fight.
I became a lord of Cinder. I may be but small.
I think it makes an interesting, I personally don't like to be at half health. I like to have a lot of health, but...
I see we're going to need a lot more souls to buy all these cool things.
We are going to have so fucking many souls. This person right here upgrades our focusing crystal and also sells infinite use throwing items.
Ooh.
They run off of focus points.
I want to make a Castlevania joke here, but...
And even better, they scale with luck.
That's a nice bonus. Because, yeah, well, I think I mentioned this at one point, but luck's a bit more useful in 3 than it is elsewhere.
Trinkets and spells.
I think they nerfed luck at one point. I don't remember. But they might have nerfed Henri's sword. I forget.
Yeah, it's the main thing I was thinking of. I know that sword was pretty good in base Dark Souls 3.
Ashen One, fetch.
But then, straight swords were pretty overpowered in general.
As I want. No?
Yeah, straight swords, broadswords, whatever you want to call them. We could just stun lock enemies.
Ow, how?
We are not going to be using those. You actually know the gimmick of this run, but I'm going to keep it a surprise until the next video.
Yeah, I'm keeping quiet.
But the sharp-eyed among you will be able to see it before the end.
Is it not our sorry fate to sup on death?
I see our old friend.
Also, I want to...
I was just saying, I can see our old friend banging away in the background.
Oh yeah, Andre. The first of many Dark Souls 1 callbacks that make zero freaking sense.
Yep.
Also, I want to say, it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. I'm probably going to start speeding through NPC dialogue by accident. I apologize, but I'm a very impatient person.
Forging weapons. You're in search of the Lords of Cinder, I trust. A toilsome journey.
Yeah, seek lest.
Good arms.
Yeah.
Weapons. I am a smith.
Till this world be mended, Umbasa.
Weapons, but when...
Pray return.
And I'm not even going to try talking to Andre. He just rambles.
Yeah, I seem to remember you had quite a lot of dialogue.
Look at all the stuff he sells.
Crossbows, decent amount of shields. Ooh, whip. Lucid hammer. Nice.
Be careful, I don't...